All right, let's do our last team here. It's the Seattle Seahawks. Their needs look like this. Obviously, the Seattle Seahawks are a lot talked about a lot this offseason, obviously trading Russell Wilson. Their needs look like this: tackle, cornerback, and a quarterback. They've got picks 9, 40, 41, 72, so on and so forth. I want to start this one off because it ties into, it doesn't really tie in. It's just a good segue. Dylan, you had an LSU guy. We're talking about LSU's backfield. I'm going to go up a level, and I'm going to talk about LSU's linebacking group and talk about how the Seattle Seahawks need to go out and get Damon Clark. Now, I know what everyone's saying. Damon Clark obviously had the big news break just after the combine that he's going to require spinal fusion surgery that will put him out all of 2022 season. He'll miss his entire rookie season. But this dude easily could have been a first-round pick if he did not have to go through that surgery. He is an absolute dog for the LSU Tigers this past season. I watched him a lot when he dominated against Alabama. I watched him a lot in the SEC. This guy is a tackle machine. And hey, Seattle, you just lost a guy named Bobby Wagner, who is arguably one of the best tacklers in the NFL. Go out and get Damon Clark, and in 2 years, you're going to be able to see him be one of the best tacklers in the NFL. Led the SEC in tackles, 4th in the nation. He's an absolute machine. Will fit perfectly under Pete Carroll. Go get you Damon Clark.
I have a question about that. I did not know at first that he, what had happened, and he's having the spinal fusion surgery. Do you see a situation possibly where it's like when the Cowboys drafted, why can't I think of anybody's name right now? Jalen Smith out of Notre Dame, and they kind of thought he wasn't going to play. He didn't play because they reached. I mean, he was supposed to go first round. They reached early in the second round to take him. Do you think this is the kind of a player who you mentioned maybe projected in the first round that can last until the 4th round? Or is a team going to jump on that sooner than and say, you know what, we'll sacrifice, especially maybe a winning team, we'll sacrifice this year because of the type of player he can be? And I know that might be medical concern. Yeah, maybe they have to check all the medical boxes first, but I could see him maybe even going a little bit earlier than the 4th round.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. And if I'm Seattle, I would even go as far as going into the 3rd round with trying to get him. I mean, this is a guy who is and that's the thing with Seattle. And you talk about how maybe a winning team goes out and get him, and obviously he can recover while they're still winning. Whereas Seattle, you're in that rebuild mode, so you're not going to be winning anything this year anyways. So go out and get you those building blocks, those foundation pieces that are going to be able to take you through the next 5-10 years. Damon Clark is that guy. He's an exceptional talent. He's an absolute stud. Could be would have been a first-round pick in my opinion if he didn't have to go through this surgery. Almost like, and I don't want to make the same comparison because Jock had an injury or health concerns that he could play through, but it made him fall. And now this is going to make Damon Clark fall, whether he falls that far to the 4th round or not. I think this is a player that the Seattle Seahawks must go grab, even in the 3rd round. Shit, I don't even care if it's in the 2nd round if you have to do it. Go out and get you a Damon Clark.
That's too far.
I don't know if you can get the 2nd, but I get you.
I worry about a team like Seattle doing that.
Yeah. It's a spinal injury. It's not an ACL for Jalen Smith. It's not a heart condition for Jock. This is a spinal injury, that spinal fusion that he's going through.
To be fair, Jalen's wasn't just an ACL; he had nerve damage, and so they were concerned about even ever having filling in his knee again. So I just think it might be a little bit early for a team that has so many holes. Like if you're a team that's close to winning, you can say, you know what, we'll just put him on the back burner. We already have a middle linebacker, maybe who's going to be a free agent in a year. But with the team like that, I don't know if you want to use a pick and then you're not only your organization, your fan base is everybody like, man, what are you doing? We have to wait a year to see if this guy can even play at the level he played at before. Yeah, but it's an interesting idea.
Well, maybe Seahawks fans will be like Jaguar fans when the Jags took Brian Anger over Russell Wilson shortly after, and they could feel like us and be heartbroken.
We were
who's
very
next?
angry.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go. Aaron, you obviously have some connections to my pick. I'll go with you next.
Okay. Oh, I got you. Now,
yeah, I see what I'm doing there.
Hey, I got you.
Let's keep
we're gonna
going.
We're gonna stay in the SEC, and I think it's DB all the way. If Seattle takes a linebacker, it'll be Devin Lloyd in the 1st round, but I don't think they go there. I think they take a defensive back, and it's Derek Stingley. Arguably the best defensive back prospect to ever play at LSU. This guy has everything. And today there was concerns about his pro day, and he ran a 4.3. Talking about a 6-foot corner who's fast, physical, fluid, patient, has speed, and his ball skills are off the charts. This dude is a legit lockdown corner. I think he might end up being the best cornerback out of this draft, as much as I love Sauce Gardner. And I think Sauce goes first. I think if Seattle can get him at 9, I think they're winning here. He had 6 interceptions in his freshman season. Then he had a shortened 2020 and only played 3 games last year. So a lot of people haven't seen a whole lot of him in a few years. And that there's been some concerns about the foot injury, but he went out on his pro day and shined. I think this guy is a top 10 lock, and I give my player comps all the time. This is D'Angelo Hall. D'Angelo Hall was a very, very, very good corner in the NFL for a very long time, and this guy has that potential. I love him.
You said he was the best DB in LSU history.
I believe
he's something.
He's arguably the best defensive back prospect to come into LSU in their history. And we're talking about some really good guys, right? We're talking about some great defensive backs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's huge. So you have Sauce Stingley?
That's how I have it drafted. That's how I have him drafted.
Where do you have it ranked? Where were your rank?
My number one cornerback in this draft is Stingley.
I also have Stingley as my number 1 cornerback in this draft, and I've been hearing a lot of the talk about Sauce, but I think Stingley is arguably one of the best players in this draft as a whole. When you look at it, every player in it, he is arguably the best player in this draft. So that's a good pick for Seattle if they can land him. AJ, let's go with you next, buddy.
I really do like the Stingley pick. And this, I'm also going round 1, pick 9. And to me, this is a very important place to pick. But I kind of go with what you were talking about, Vinny. Like, they're not going to be winning for a while. And you did just acquire Drew Lock. And if you want to blow smoke and say you like Drew Lock enough, that's fine. I do think that they should project for the next season and take this year with Drew Lock. You're not going to win. Put some stuff around for the guy that you're coming to get next season. So for me, I went with the tackle. That has been their problem for years on end. That's why Russell Wilson's gone. And the big thing before I play it, it's EKWONU. I have not seen someone who has a solid, this tackle is going first. So whether it's Evan Neal, whether it's Charles Cross, whether it's EKWONU, one of these guys may fall here, and I think they should jump. I picked EKWONU out of NC State. Don't know how. EKWONU. Yeah, that's the right one. Powerful. Plays angry. No wasted reps. Every motion has something behind it. This guy is one of the best run blockers in college football. Definitely the best in this draft. Out of NC State, this man had 18 what they call big-time blocks. What that means is he's making sure you are going to feel everything. He's got really long arms, and once he hits you, you're going to feel it. People call this guy a bully because he's looking to put you down every single time. And he's really good with his body. His blocks aren't just, oh, I put my hands on you, I pushed you. He'll put his back on you and push you the opposite direction. He'll hook a guy just so there's enough of a gap for the running back to fit in, and the defender has to go around him. He uses his technique to his ability and to his advantage, and he's really, really smart at it. I think he's going to be one of the best tackles in this draft. Could be the first one off the board. I think we'll get some more clarity on that, obviously, as the weeks are coming up. So I choose EKWONU, NC State.
He's been like,
I don't think there's a chance in hell EKWONU is making it to 9.
Ooh,
there is zero chance that dude is making it to 9. This dude is an absolute monster. He's not making it to 9. If Seattle wants him, they are going to have to move up.
I've seen people saying the Jaguars could go for him at number 1 overall.
They're arguing he could go number 1. The Giants could take him. I don't have the draft order right in front of me, but there is, to me, and if he's dropping to 6, 7, you will see a team move up to get him. I don't think there is a chance in hell he makes it to 9. If Seattle wants him, they need to move up, because that is a bookmark tackle that will be your tackle for the next 10 years. That dude is a straight monster.
He's great. He's fantastic.
I told you, I thought if Cam Robinson left, I think EKWONU would be a lock for the Jaguars. But when they franchised him, now I worry about it. But there's still a chance. Like, that dude is a straight beast.
Over,
so you have him. You have him over Neal?
Rather over Evan Neal.
I would start EKWONU right now over Cam Robinson.
Yeah.
I would start both those tackles over Cam Robinson, to be completely honest. But
Ikem Ekwonu is, to me, is the best tackle in this draft. Evan Neal's nice. He is not Ikem Ekwonu.
And I agree with you. And I agree with you. It's just that I haven't seen anyone, like, people are trying to argue Charles Cross may sneak up in here. They still haven't decided what Evan Neal can do because he's so great at pass blocking, where Ikem Ekwonu is so good at run blocking. So, if those two guys, we know Detroit's getting an edge rusher. We have no clue what Houston's going to do. I'm operating under the thought process that they're going to get an edge rusher. New York needs a cornerback or a receiver. Carolina may steal an O tackle, and you're right about the Giants. They may as well, but they also need an edge rusher. So it's so many questions. And if these three guys had a clear-cut 1, 2, 3, I would feel different. I chose Ekem because honestly, I wanted to talk about him, and he is that good.
You just want to say his name too. It's funny. We talked about where the rankings stuff. So I'm looking at CBS's rankings right now. Evan Neal, Charles Cross, Tyler Linderbaum, and then yeah. So
that's okay.
I get it, but
I want to go back
not in
on
that way.
this
The
for a
center,
second. You said there's a chance EKWONU could go 1 or potentially Evan Neal. I don't think there's a chance the Jags could go tackle at 1. And I want to bring it up. They drafted Walker Little last year. They still have Juwan Taylor. They still have Cam Robinson. There's no way you bring another tackle into that mix, do you?
You do anything you want. You do anything you have to do to protect your franchise quarterback. And if you think Ikem Ekwonu or Evan Neal is a straight franchise type of tackle, you do it. And don't get it twisted. Cam Robinson got franchise tagged. So that rookie can come in, play the right side. They can move somebody else around. They're not, and then just say, okay, bye-bye Cam Robinson next year and slide him right over. So I wouldn't get fooled by the fact that they have a bunch of guys there now. There's always trades the draft that might include one of those players. It would not shock me.
Hey, Dylan, the Jaguars trade back into the first round for Tyler Linderbaum as their center, and they've drafted Aiden Hutchinson. Cream your pants right now. Make your pick.
I'd love that.
I would too.
Of course you would.
That's a lot better than ETN with their second first rounder. But let's go. Let's take a look. I'm going right back there. I'm with AJ's logic. Like, they do have another year they could go with a quarterback. You don't need to reach on a quarterback here. So I'm going Charles Cross. Charles Cross, the big buffet boy from Mississippi State. You talk about a big fella. This guy is 6'5", 307. He's not extremely athletic, but he's a great left tackle. He's a true day one left tackle. He's very strong, plays to his strengths, and he can match up with power rushers. I mean, this guy's everything you need. Seattle's needed a left tackle for the longest time. Russell Wilson's taking a lot of sacks. They got Rashad Penny re-signed. They could have a run game. I don't think they go quarterback here in the first round because you strictly look at that roster and what they could do. It's more of a next year type of move. I don't think any quarterback goes in the first round this year, and I'm dead serious when I say that.
I'm very close to agreeing with you. I'm very close to agreeing with you. I do think one ends up going because teams love quarterbacks, but I don't think Seattle takes a quarterback here. Everybody keeps talking about, oh, it's Drew Lock. It's Drew Lock. Whether it's Drew Lock this year, if you go and spend that first round pick on a project because we all know, I don't care which quarterback you draft in this draft class, it's going to be a project. They're not ready to come in and start day one. And you make a project out of it and then it doesn't pan out, your franchise gets set back, right? Because now you've wasted that first round pick. I think with a stronger first round or a stronger quarterback class next year, you go build your team and you get a quarterback in there that has some experience and you say, okay, Drew Lock, you get another chance here. Maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. But if it doesn't, then we're probably picking early first round again next year, and we can have a chance at one of those quarterbacks. And I just don't see Seattle. We talked about Baker. I don't see it. I think Seattle is okay with going into day one as Drew Lock as their starter.
Even if Drew Lock isn't good. I mean, we've seen the quarterback movement over the last few. I mean, even next offseason, they may not even sit here thinking, oh, we need a quarterback. They would probably need one. They may not draft one. They could say, look, Baker Mayfield's gone. He's off his rookie deal. Let's sign him. Or there could be other movement that goes along. Daniel Jones has a good year, but they don't want to keep him. Boom. Daniel Jones. Like, there's multiple pieces that could fit there. So, I mean, you never know what can happen with the quarterback.
The Seahawks know where they are. You don't let go of a franchise quarterback and your franchise linebacker, the last remnants of that Super Bowl championship team, and say we're ready to win. They know they have to start building a team before they bring a guy they truly believe can be their signal caller.
I'm going to leave it with this on the quarterback talk with the Seattle Seahawks. I agree with you guys about not taking one early and this and that. Don't be surprised if they end up taking a guy like Carson Strong later on in the draft and he actually becomes their starting quarterback in 2022. I think Carson Strong.
I believe
that's possible. That's possible.
Yeah,
I think that's the route they end up going with. I think that's where the Seattle Seahawks end up going with. They do what you guys are saying, and they don't reach on one of these quarterbacks. And
there's not one quarterback that gets drafted to me in this draft that comes out and starts day one. Not one.
Yeah, I agree. I don't
not a spot
and the other thing is I don't see that big of a drop off between a Carson Strong in round 3 versus a Malik Willis in round 1. I don't see that. There is. I'm not saying that there's none at all, but I'm saying
I would say that
for Seattle.
I would say it's not a drop off of where they're at now, but the upside of Malik Willis goes here. The upside of Carson Strong doesn't reach to that level. That's the difference.
Agreed.